Welcome back. I'm Stephanie Valle. We are talking to the three candidates for City Council District 8. It's your voice, your vote. District 8 is part of West El Paso, all the UTEP area and the neighborhoods surrounding it, downtown El Paso, and some of central El Paso as well. The current city representative, Cecilia Sarga, is not running for re-election after 5 years on council. There are three candidates on the ballot: Chris Canales, Bettina Olivares, and Rich Wright, and they are with me here in the studio. So again, thank you all for joining me today. So I realize your district is widespread, covers many areas as I outlined just right now. So what do you feel are the three biggest issues affecting residents in your area? So let's start with you, Mr. Canales.
Obviously, one of the big ones is streets. Everybody drives on them almost every day. The quality of them has deteriorated hugely over the years. We need to find a dedicated revenue source to make sure that those stay at a good condition. Parks is another big one. Been working with the local nonprofit Moms on Board to introduce a lot of new things for parks, including design standards. And then a third one, I think, is making sure that we have sustainability across our procurement. Solar panels on the roofs of city buildings, that's a big, important issue to me.
Okay. Ms. Olivares?
It is a very widespread district. Three things that I would definitely like to tackle. Number one is adequate representation. We need a representative who is present, who is able to communicate with their constituents, who you can easily contact, and I think that that has been lacking in this area. Two, definitely streets. We can't get away from streets. Streets are just important all over the city, but especially in this district where we have a lot of hills and valleys, it really takes a toll, our rain and drainage. And to finish up, third would be transportation. I really think that we can do a lot more when it comes to our transportation all throughout the district.
Mr. Wright?
The three issues I would say most El Pasoans, and especially the El Pasoans who live in District 8, are facing is taxes, taxes, and taxes. Every year our taxes go up, and every year the city services decline. We need to get our fiscal house in order. We need to stop spending money on frivolous projects that only benefit some El Pasoans, and we need to stop the wasteful spending. We need to get into taxes.
Some of you might have proposed solutions, but what solutions would you pursue to fix the issues that you outlined? So let's start with you, Ms. Olivares.
So the first thing I talked about was communication and being present in the community. That's an easy one. You just got to be present and have an open line and open door policy, which I am definitely committed to doing. I have dedicated my career to government, so I'm well suited for constituent services and being there for the community. For streets, I think this is something that's been neglected for a long time, and it's having dedicated revenue sources. It's prioritizing funding for streets. City Council is doing that now, but it has a lot to catch up on. And then transportation also, it's an issue of funding and also having adequate contractors to run our services and running them in areas as routinely as possible so people can rely on them.
Mr. Wright?
If we want to lower our taxes, or at least not make the taxes come up, we have to start the budget process with a zero net gain in property taxes. Net zero. We need to start with we're not raising taxes and go on from there. The city has this beautiful strategic plan which nowhere mentions the costs and the benefits that we're supposed to get from these things. We need to stop frivolous spending. We need to stop spending on projects that only benefit some El Pasos, and we need to reduce taxes. Our citizens' quality of life improves when they have more money in their pocket.
Mr. Canales?
I talked about streets. We need dedicated revenue sources for streets. $40 million is the amount that the city's identified for what we need in order to keep our streets at a good condition. We need to be able to have that baked into our budget every year. I talked about parks. We need to adjust the park standards. So when we're accepting new parks that are built by contractors, they need to have more amenities. They need to have shade. They need to have benches. extra amenities that allow people to enjoy the parks at the times that they want with their children. And then I talked about a few things in sustainability already, but another big issue is not overextending ourselves and we keep growing unsustainably further and further out into the desert, and we need to focus on redeveloping the core of the city.
The following questions are going to be individual questions. So first, Mr. Wright, you ran for the seat in 2018 unsuccessfully. Why are you trying again if voters seem to already send you a message 4 years ago?
In 2018, I didn't much want this job. In 2018, I felt like my role was to educate the fellow candidates about the issues that I thought were important. There were some good candidates running in 2018, and I thought a couple of them could have done the job. I decided this time that I needed to step up and do the job. I needed to go for it, and I'm going for it now. I'm trying to be your city representative, and I would appreciate your vote.
Ms. Olivares, you currently work as a legislative aide for Cassandra Hernandez, who represents District 3, that encompasses parts of Central and East El Paso. So what would you say to people who might question whether you and your boss would vote in lockstep, or whether she will have undue influence in your decision-making on items that have citywide implications?
So the great part of having so much experience in government is that my current boss is not the only elected official I've worked for. She is actually my 4th elected official, which is great because you get to take, the best parts of, learning from the best, the people who are in the position and making the decisions. And learning from her has been a great experience, and I appreciate her support and everything she has given me. But when we get down to city council and votes, I'm going to make the votes that are going to be of benefit to my district and what I think is going to be for the city, and nobody's going to influence me on that.
Mr. Canales, you're the chief of staff for the current district rep, Cecilia Lizárraga, and were endorsed by her. Are voters to expect that you would be a continuation of Lizárraga's policies and ideas? And what do you tell voters who think you might be a carbon copy of your boss?
No, very much not so. I think anyone can understand the idea that you probably don't agree with your boss 100% of the time. I have very different politics than my boss. And I think the campaign that I've run has shown that my positions on a lot of the issues are very different from hers. I'm very grateful that she brought me into the city and has helped me to learn all that I've needed in order to be qualified to do this job now that I want to be elected to. But I think you'll see a very different District 8 office with me at the helm than with Rep. Lizárraga.
I'd like to get your final thoughts, and I'll start with you, Ms. Olivares.
So I am so grateful to have this opportunity to run for office. This has been a dream of mine. It is something that I've always wanted to do and have been doing in public service for the last 9 years or so. And to be able to represent the city that I was raised in as a Latina, as a woman and young woman from South Central El Paso, it just really means the world to me. And with my experience, my know-how, my knowledge of government, I am really ready to go day one. So I am gracious to be able to have this opportunity, and I'm ready to serve you District 8, and I'm hoping to count on your vote.
Mr. Wright?
I've been a small businessman. I know what it's like to have to hustle to keep the lights on. I know what it's like to work extra to get the job done. And it's hard. Small business is hard. And taxes are an extra burden that the small businesses in El Paso are suffering under. And we need to fix that. We need to lower taxes. We need to get the city back to its core functions, and we need to straighten our fiscal house.
Mr. Canales?
There are a lot of issues that are important to me that obviously in this format, with 30-second answers, it's very difficult to talk about everything that I want to talk about. Accessibility is incredibly important to me. Sustainability, equity across the district. All of these positions are on my website, canalesforcouncil.com. I hope you'll go there and read about all of the issues that I'm passionate about, that I want to make a difference in. And I'm hopeful that after you do that, you'll choose me as the person you want representing you in District 8.
Thank you for joining me for this forum. And remember, early voting runs October 24th through November 4th. Election Day is November 8th. Go to KVIA.com for a complete list of early voting information. And thanks for watching.